I was buttering toast when my wife said, very casually, like she was asking for more salt, "I need a week to decide if you're worth keeping." I blinked at the toaster. It popped. One of the slices had that perfect golden color people lie about on Instagram. I looked at the toast, at her, at the toast again. "A week?" I said. "Like 7 days? Not dog days?" "7 calendar days," Nora said, scrolling her phone with her thumb. "No leap seconds. Just space. Space," I repeated. "Cool. Should I get you a telescope or just move to the guest room?" She didn't laugh. Nora is beautiful, smart, and annoyingly good at timing. She lifted her coffee, didn't drink it, and said, "Please don't be dramatic. I need clarity. I feel undecided." "Got it," I said. "Then do the week as if I'm not here. Maybe by Friday you'll notice what's missing." Or not. That was apparently not the line she expected. Her eyebrows did the little confused dance. "So you're not going to fight for me?" "I'm not going to fight you," I said. Different sport. Silence. The toaster clicked again for no reason, like it wanted to be involved. I took my mug, took my toast, and moved to the guest room that afternoon. I put my razor back in the travel case, my shirts on the spare rack, my phone charger on the old nightstand with the wobbly leg. It wasn't sad, it was clean, like clearing browser cache. Nora watched me walk past the hallway with that not noticing face. She's good at not noticing. She could be a professional. That first night, I slept like a teenager after gym class. No TV hum, no midnight debates about duvet temperature. In the morning, I made coffee quietly and left for work without the usual text me kiss. I did not text her. I also didn't block her. I'm not 12. Day 1 was weird in the same way it's weird to use your left hand for the right-hand job. Nora played indifferent. She hummed, loaded the dishwasher wrong, posted a story of our cat with the caption, "Testing boundaries," and a winky face. Because nothing screams marital reflection like emojis. Around evening, Claire, the bride whose wedding we were headed to at the end of the week, FaceTimed me in a robe full of bobby pins. "Head count panic," she said. "You two are still coming, right?" "We're a tentative to," I said. "What is a tentative to?" "It means by Saturday there will be either a pair or a solo act." She made a face that said she did not want that kind of suspense near her seating chart. "Please just be nice," she said. "To each other. And to my florist, I promise to be kind to the flowers," I said, and hung up. When I hung up, Nora was leaning against the doorframe, arms folded. "You aren't going to ask me how my day was?" "I'll get the summarized version at your board meeting," I said, and took my coffee outside. The sunset was doing that expensive color thing. I felt lightweight. Day 2, Nora upgraded from indifferent to performatively busy. New blouse, new lipstick shade named something like Wild Decision Number 12. She set her calendar to private and walked around the house like an airport lounge. She left earlier than usual and came back late. No kiss, no hey. She put her phone face down on the table, which is the universal sign for, "I want you to ask." I didn't. "Anything you want to talk about?" she said, like a cop who already knows you were speeding. "Do you?" she shrugged. "Just thinking." "Cool." Day 3 happened in a cafe window on my lunch break. I was eating a heroic sandwich and skimming emails when Nora's story bubbled up on my screen. A latte art heart, her hand, a reflection in the glass of a guy across the table. Caption, "Testing boundaries." I love how people announce moral experiments like they're Nobel nominees. The guy's jawline looked familiar. Liam, her friend from forever, which translated means the guy who texted until I put a ring on it. I didn't reply. I didn't screenshot in rage. I tapped save, finished my sandwich, and went back to work like an adult trying to be one. That evening, she came home late and hung her coat like it owed her money. "You're not going to ask where I was?" she said. Big eyes, soft voice, stage lighting. If I wanted to know, I said, I'd have asked before the wedding. You're impossible. I'm consistent. She blew past me into the bedroom and closed the door, not hard, not soft, exactly at the volume that says, hear this, but don't accuse me of slamming. On the morning of day 4, a note waited by the coffee maker in neat handwriting that always looks like it passed a background check. I read it once, then again, because it was short. You've become distant. That was it. No explanation, no follow-up, just a quiet verdict. I stood there with the kettle humming and thought about all the words we hadn't used all week. I pulled a sticky note from the drawer and wrote one line. Then I let you go. I stuck it under hers. Not a fight, not a speech, just my side of the same sentence. When she came into the kitchen, she glanced at the notes, then at me. We had that 2-second eye contact that feels longer because the room is already full of unsaid things. She picked up her mug. We're still going to the wedding, she said. It sounded like a statement and a dare. We are, I said. And you'll drive? I always do. She nodded. Okay. We packed like 2 people recording a tutorial called How to Fold Clothes Without Saying Feelings. Her suitcase is sleek and judgmental. Mine is old and loyal with a zipper scar. She put 3 dresses in garment bags, as if the bags could protect the decisions inside them. I pack like a dad going on a responsible field trip. Shirts, socks, shoes, snacks, charger. I slid an envelope into the inside pocket of my jacket. I didn't practice the lines. I already knew them. At the door she said, You look fine. You look great, I said, because she did. She always does. In the car, we let the radio talk for us. The DJ did a segment about second chances, which I'm convinced is a setting you can add if your station knows you're married and driving. She stared out the window. I watched the road like it owed me a refund. You're very calm, she said finally. I'm very done guessing, I said. We stopped for gas. She went inside and came back with water and gum. She put them in the cup holder like a treaty. For the road, she said. Thanks, I said. I plan to weaponize the gum during the vows. She almost smiled. It vanished fast, but I saw it. That's the dangerous thing about marriages. The tiny moments where the person you love peeks through the fog and waves like, I'm still here. The hotel appeared around a curve. A lot of glass, a lot of warm light, a smell in the lobby that I would describe as expensive candle called wealth. Claire spotted us and sprinted across marble in slippers, hugging Nora first, then me like she was relieved I hadn't turned into a rumor. Room keys are ready, she said. Welcome to 3 days of love with assigned seating. We brought our coupons, I said. She rolled her eyes in a friendly way. Mixer by the pool at 7, swimwear optional, smiles mandatory. Our smiles are in the glove compartment, I said. In the elevator, it was me, Nora, and our reflection. We looked like 3 strangers who happened to dress like a couple. The suite was very photogenic. There were more pillows than a person has opinions. Rose petals on the bed, because romance is, apparently, a craft project. Nora took the bathroom first. I hung her garment bag like a museum piece, and my suit behind it like a polite volunteer. I put the envelope back in my jacket pocket and touched it once. Not for luck, but to remind myself I had a spine. At 6:58, we left for the pool area, which looked like a magazine spread that paid extra for string lights. I could hear glasses, ice, laughing, the little clink soundtrack of events where everyone hopes their ex sees the pictures later. Nora wore a light dress that made people look at her like she owed them an explanation. She laughed a touch too loud. If laughter had a clutch, hers was stuck in second. I didn't hover. I got a whiskey and learned the bartender's name, which I now forget, but promised not to. That's when Liam arrived out of mint and confidence. Nora, he said, all teeth. You're still married? I stayed where I was. I didn't need to enter the scene. She tilted her chin in that way that can mean anything. Formally, she said. Emotionally, considering options. Bold, Liam said. eyes flicking to me like a raccoon checking a trash can for movement. I sipped. The bartender glanced at me like, "You good?" I was. Not happy. Not sad. Just a guy with a drink who had stopped volunteering for games. A bridesmaid slid close to Nora and did a whisper that was loud enough to have its own microphone. "He's not even jealous," she said, nodding at me. "That means he doesn't love you." I almost laughed. The University of TikTok continues to hand out degrees. In my head I said, respect costs more than jealousy, and I paid the tab. Nora threw me a look, checking for a flare-up. I gave her neutral. Not ice, not heat. Climate control. She didn't know what to do with that, which was sort of the point. She turned back to the group, then called over, "Dance?" "Sure," I said, because I am not allergic to music. The band started something slow and sincere. We stepped onto the deck. She put one hand on my shoulder, one in my palm. It felt familiar and foreign at the same time, like driving your old car after years of leasing. We moved. She searched my face like there was a new setting she hadn't tried. "You're not going to ask who I danced with last night?" she said. "If it mattered," I said, "you wouldn't be asking." Her breath hitched the smallest bit. We kept moving. Her earrings caught the light like they were trying to signal the tower. "You're infuriating," she said, but softer now. "I'm consistent." "Stop saying that." "Okay, I'm reliable. Worse." "Fine. I sit when told." That got her. She smiled for real, quick, like she was stealing it. "Idiot." "You're idiot for now," I said, and let that sit. The song went on too long, the way wedding songs do when the band is paid by the minute. We stepped off the deck. She drifted one way, I drifted another. The night grew that hotel kind of loose where people tell secrets to ice buckets. Later by the water, I found a quiet corner and let the pool lights do their calm blue brain trick. Bare feet slapped softly behind me. Nora, heels in hand, hair slightly less architectural. "I thought you'd come find me," she said. "I don't chase people who walk away on purpose," I said. "You're too calm." "It's annoying." "I already know your verdict," I said. "Calm is cheaper than pretending." She looked at the water, then at me. For a second, she was the person I married. Less armor, more human. "I don't know what I want," she said. "That's finally true," I said. I took off my jacket and put it around her shoulders. "Don't get cold." "I'm fine," she said. "Keep it anyway." I left before we invented a new argument to rehearse. Back in the room, I sat down on the bed, hands on my knees like a kid before a principal talk. I checked the envelope again. Not a threat, not an ultimatum. Just the last clear sentence. If you love me, choose me. If this is a game, I'm out. I turned off the lamp and stared at the dark. The hum came back, small, like an old fridge, but I could live with that for one more night. I didn't sleep much after the pier. When you finally stop arguing, the silence doesn't feel peaceful, it just has better acoustics. I kept seeing the look on her face when I left, half confused, half relieved, like someone who just lost a bet they made with themselves. Morning came in through expensive curtains. Nora was in the mirror, curling her hair and pretending she couldn't see me in the reflection. "Big day," I said. "For them," she said. "Still counts as cardio." All that smiling. She smiled, but only with one side of her mouth. "You rehearsing your stand-up routine?" "Just trying to blend in." We didn't talk much after that. Packing again, ironing again, all the motions that look like preparation but feel like evacuation. I checked my phone. No messages from anyone except Mark, the groom. "Don't forget my speech cues." I typed back, "Wouldn't dream of it." The ceremony happened outdoors, because of course it did. Pretty people under pretty lights promising forever in front of other people who were still deciding if forever was even practical. I watched Nora watching them. She looked emotional, or maybe bored, hard to tell. When the vows hit the "I'll never doubt us" part, she glanced at me. I didn't flinch. She did. After the photos and champagne migration, we ended up back near the pool. The same string lights, the same perfect music, the same bar trying to drown human mistakes in ice cubes. Claire hugged everyone, glitter everywhere, and whispered, "Don't you dare fight at my wedding." I promised nothing. Nora found her friends, and I found a chair with my name on it and a view of nothing important. People danced, people flirted, people tried to out-happy each other. I practiced the opposite. Calm indifference. Liam was there again, of course. He has the self-awareness of a golden retriever and the hair of someone who uses the phrase, creative soul. He laughed too close to her ear. I could feel eyes on me, waiting for a reaction like it was part of the entertainment package. I gave them a sip, not a scene, just another drink, another polite nod. When dinner started, I sat across from Nora. Between us, candles, wine glasses, and the kind of silence that would get 5 stars on TripAdvisor. "You could at least pretend to care," she said quietly. "I'm here, aren't I?" "That's not the same. It's exactly the same. You wanted space. I'm giving it perfect posture. You know what I mean." "I really don't, and that's the problem." She sighed, looked away. "You make everything sound like paperwork." "That's because feelings come with hidden fees." It made her laugh. Small, unwilling, real. She hated that. "Stop doing that," she said. "What?" "Making me laugh when I'm mad." "Then stop being mad," I said. She shook her head and sipped her wine like it was supposed to be a period in the sentence. By the time dessert landed, everyone was glowing from alcohol and compliments. Mark stood, tapped his glass. The music dipped, and he started the classic groom speech. Thank yous, jokes, nostalgia. Then, halfway through, he went off script. "Love," he said, "isn't a decision you put on hold for a week. It's the same choice you make every day, even when it's boring, even when you're tired, even when the Wi-Fi is bad." Soft laughter, scattered claps, but I saw Nora freeze. The words hit her like cold water. She glanced at me. I was already looking back. I reached inside my jacket and pulled out the envelope. Not for drama, for closure. I stood. A few heads turned because humans can smell a plot twist. I set the envelope next to her plate. "Nora," I said, voice steady, "if you love me, choose me. If this is a game, I'm done playing." The room went politely silent. The kind of silence where even the forks listen. She looked down at the envelope like it might explode. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. Across the table, Claire's eyes were wide. Mark just gave me a slow, knowing nod. I straightened my jacket, without the one I'd left on her shoulders, and said, "Congratulations, everyone. It's a beautiful wedding." Then I walked toward the doors. No one stopped me. No one clapped. No one gasped. Just the sound of music trying to pretend nothing happened. Outside, the night air felt like an actual conversation partner. Honest, cool, not pretending. I loosened my tie, took a deep breath, and laughed once, quietly. I hadn't laughed like that all week. It wasn't joy. It was release. In the distance, I could still hear the music, the cheers, the speeches about forever. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was failing to meet someone's expectations. I just felt done. The next morning smelled like coffee and damage control. The hotel staff moved through the hallways collecting champagne glasses and half-alive bouquets. I packed quietly, like a thief stealing his own stuff. Claire caught me in the lobby. Her mascara had survived a war. "You're really leaving?" "Yeah," I said. "Before the post-wedding autopsy starts." She lowered her voice. "She's upset." I figured. People usually are when a mirror talks back. Claire frowned. "You're not angry?" "No, anger's too expensive. I'm saving for peace." She hugged me, whispered, "You did the right thing," then added, "I just didn't have to do this at my wedding." "Noted," I said. The parking lot was quiet, except for gulls that didn't care who cheated on whom. I sat in the car for a second before starting it, staring at the hotel entrance like it owed me closure. Nora came out a minute later wearing sunglasses and the jacket I'd left on her shoulders. She spotted me but didn't move closer. Just stood there, small and proud, like a statue made of unfinished sentences. For a second, I thought she might walk over. She didn't. I nodded once, like you do when a song ends and you don't need an encore, and pulled out of the lot. The highway was empty, the kind of road that gives you too much time to think. My phone buzzed once, a text from her. "Can we talk?" I let it sit there. I wasn't cruel. I was just done being the only one talking. After a few miles, I opened the window. Wind rushed in, cool and honest. The envelope was gone, but the weight that used to sit in my chest went with it. I stopped at a gas station, got terrible coffee. The guy at the counter looked at me like I'd just gotten divorced by text, which, technically, wasn't far off. "Long drive?" he asked. "7 days long," I said. He nodded like that made sense, gave me a free donut for the road. It tasted like cardboard enclosure. By the time I reached the city, the sky had that late morning brightness that forgives bad choices. I parked in front of the house, sat there for a minute, then laughed. Not bitter, just tired and clean. Inside, the guest room looked exactly as I'd left it. Neat, small, peaceful. The cat jumped onto the bed, stared, and meowed once like, finally. I scratched its head. "Yeah," I said. "We're back to regular programming." I made coffee. Real coffee, not hotel syrup. The mug felt heavier than usual but steadier. For the first time in a week, the silence in the house wasn't heavy. It was mine. Later I thought about it. She needed a week to decide if I was worth keeping. I needed the same week to realize I already kept myself. 3 days after the wedding, she came home. No text, no warning, just the sound of her key in the door like nothing had happened. The cat ran to meet her first. Traitor. She walked in wearing the same jacket I'd left on her shoulders that night. It hung a little loose now, like time had stretched it. She looked around the living room like it had aged without her. "Hi," she said finally. "Hey." She closed the door. "You didn't change the locks." I didn't change the Wi-Fi either. Figured we'd start small. That got a faint smile. She dropped her bag on the floor and exhaled. The kind of sigh that means I've rehearsed this conversation in my head too many times. "I read the letter," she said. "Good." It was short enough. "It wasn't short," she said quietly. "You said you'd wait for my answer." I did. I leaned on the counter. Didn't say how long. She nodded, slow. "It was honest. You said you wanted me to choose, not out of guilt, but because I actually wanted this. That's the idea." She looked up. "You also said you'd still care about me, even if I didn't choose you." I don't take promises off the shelf just because someone else breaks one. That shut her up for a second. She crossed her arms, then dropped them, like she couldn't decide which version of herself to be. "I don't know what I expected," she said. "Maybe a fight. Maybe some big scene. I think we already used up our drama quota." "Yeah," she said, half laughing. "You and your calm." "It's cheaper than therapy," I said. That made her laugh for real. She covered her face with her hands for a second, then looked at me, tired, makeup-free, real. "I was stupid," she said finally. "I wanted to feel wanted. I kept pushing you, waiting for you to prove something, and you didn't. It scared me. Because I didn't play the game? Because you stopped trying to fix what I kept breaking." Silence again. The clock ticked like it was proud of itself. She looked at the floor. "When you gave me that envelope, I thought it was your way of saying goodbye. But it didn't sound like that. It sounded like you were done performing, not done loving." "Good," I said. Then I wrote it right. "I don't deserve you waiting." "Maybe not. But you're here anyway." She came a step closer. "You're not going to make this easy, are you?" "I don't do easy. I do real." She hesitated, then took another step. "Do you still want me to decide?" "Always," I said. but maybe now you understand what the choice actually means. She nodded slowly. It means showing up. Every day, I said. Even when it's boring. Even when we annoy each other. Especially then. She let out a small breath and smiled, the first unguarded one I'd seen in weeks. You sound like Mark during his speech. He stole my material. She laughed. I hated you during that speech. I noticed. You were stabbing me with your eyes. Then she said softly, Can I stay? I shrugged. You already took my jacket. Might as well keep the house warm too. She smiled. That's a yes? That's a start. That night we didn't fix everything. We didn't even try. We just sat on the couch with coffee instead of wine and talked like people who finally remembered how. A month later, the house started to sound like home again. Not loud, just real. Coffee cups on the same side of the sink, 2 toothbrushes back in one holder. The cat finally stopped sleeping in the guest room. We didn't talk much about the wedding anymore. When we did, it was gentle, like touching a scar that doesn't hurt but still remembers. She started cooking breakfast again. I started setting the table. Small things, but that's where repair lives. Not in promises, but in repetition. One night, she said quietly, I'm glad you didn't give up on me. I smiled. I almost did. I know, she said. You should have. Maybe, I said. But next time, if there ever is a next time, there won't be a week to decide. She looked up, wary. What do you mean? I mean, I said calmly, if you ever need to think again about whether to keep me, don't bother. I'll start packing. Thinking time ends the moment you question my place here. She nodded slowly. No argument, no drama, just understanding. That's fair, she said. And deserved. Good, I said, because I don't want a love that needs experiments to survive. She came closer, leaned her head on my shoulder. Neither do I. We stood like that for a while, not hugging out of guilt, not holding out of fear. Just there, present, equal. Outside, the night was quiet, the way it used to be before all the noise. Inside, for the first time in a long time, silence didn't mean distance. It meant peace. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.